All right, Josh, I think I saw you nod your head, but we have another question here from a viewer on Facebook, and I have a feeling that this is going to dovetail into what you might want to talk about. Sandy Williamson says, stop letting the kids rule the parents. Make kids go to church like our parents made us back in the day. Have kids do the chores before play, have them play outside, put God in the Pledge of Allegiance back in school. I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with that.
Well, you know, to some degree, but I think more importantly, and even the guns are not the problem. Guns are not, like you already said, they're not rising up and firing themselves. The problem, and what I mentioned before, is I think by moving away from letting the parents actually get back into their kids' worlds. Like, think about it as a parent. When was the last time you spent 4 hours with your kid one-on-one time every day? I mean, that's what they're doing with their screens every day. So what I'm saying is as parents, we've got to, and I've got 3 of my own. I've got a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an 8-year-old. And what I have to do is be proactive. I can't just let, okay, they're throwing a fit or there's a rough day going on here. Watch something on, you know, Looney Tunes or Disney Channel. I've got to step in and I've got to say, I've got to re-engage my family. And so as a pastor, and even going proactive like we've been talking about, I think my biggest reason in even bringing that up is it's not a gun problem. We just got to go back to being parents. We've got to go back to re-engaging our kids and finding out what's going on in our kids' worlds, and not letting their friends be their counselors, but letting their parents be their counselors.
And whether we like this or not, that comment, whether you like or you don't like that, this is here to stay. Social media, your smartphones, we have to set the examples as parents. We also have to use this against our own children. We have to teach them the right way to do it, because there is a right way to do it. We can't hide it and say, oh, you know what, you just can't have that, son or daughter. No, we have to instruct them and educate them that there's a right way to use these things.
Absolutely.
And we have to set the example for our children and our students on what the right way is.
Well, what about do your chores and all that, which is kind of my generation's way that I grew up? Smart, not smart?
I don't know if doing your chores has anything to do with school shootings. I think what that shooter is saying, or that shooter, what that person is saying, is that there's some relationship between discipline.
Right. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
Some relationship between discipline and values with the accountability of weapons, and I think they're absolutely. It's a fair conclusion to make.
I think that chores help you learn respect. So I think that's probably the real question, is what can we do in our kids' lives to help them learn to respect again, to respect authority, to respect their parents, to also respect others. I think, you know, I think the problem is if we don't engage our kids, if we as parents don't step up to the plate and engage our kids in this battle, then we're not having that voice. We're not able to help them see what respect looks like and how to. But
again, I think that we have to continue to educate them to do that. There's a study I recently read that the average male father in America spends 2 minutes a day looking into the eyes of their children and really engaging them.
Oh, that's
2 minutes.
Whoa.
Think about that. But think about this. So I went to work all day. I got up before my daughter got up. I took her to school, right? We talked a little bit. She was tired. Took her to school, took her home, and I came here. How many minutes have I really engaged with my child? Looking into, that's not far off. I hate to say that for my own sake today.
Right. Hopefully you can make it up on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, hopefully I can.
So it averages out over
hopefully
the
I
week.
can.
Yeah.
I think if we decide to have children, we have an obligation to those children.
Right.
And we have an obligation to ourselves. You know, if we are advancing so fast, we have an obligation to keep up with it. You can no longer say, oh, I don't need that stuff. Because those children are going to say, yeah, I need this. Yeah. And how many times have you heard, oh, I don't know what that is?
Yeah.
Right.
I think we have an obligation to understand what that is. Because if we're going to do the education like John is saying, we have to teach ourselves. So, you know, we have to constantly be learning as well. And I don't think we're doing that very well.
And to that point, I think if our kids come in with a question regarding what they've seen, and we're like, oh, I don't even know what that's about, right away we're saying we're not willing to engage you. You go engage whoever else. And so we've got to change that dialogue. We've got, and I'm with you, we've got to educate ourselves to the point where when they come in with a question, we're like, okay, this is here's the answer, or here are some things we need to consider as we engage this.
Well, I tell you, I'm into my 5th decade now, and I have a really hard time, even if the will was there, just figuring it out. I mean, I just think it's hard. People on Facebook are suggesting the use of clear book bags and adding the required mental health class. I don't know about the mental health class.
What are your thoughts on that?
Because what about that?
A lot of people have said it should be a multi-pronged approach to how we address school safety and school violence.
I think our state has done a miserable job addressing mental health from a legislative perspective. And I think that we absolutely have to have some discussions and some dialogue about mental health. Clear backpacks, that's a unique, I mean, you go to a major league ball game or you go to an NFL ball game.
Ziploc bag, right?
Oh, yeah, you better have it. You go to a NASCAR race, you're going to have a clear bag. You go to a college game, clear bag. I am willing to hear all of those, and I don't know that ain't a bad idea. Mm-hmm. I saw a piece, I think Channel 10 did, on bulletproof backpacks.
We did.
I think I think we have to explore all of those things, but I think in the end, if we're not open-minded about these things, we are leading, and kids perceive that. Mm-hmm. We're constantly leading. And if we close our minds to anything or any suggestion or any question, what are we telling? What message are we delivering through our body language, through our words, through our actions? We're not thinking about that, and not addressing mental health head on. I mean, we have done some crazy things in the state. The answer to a mental health issue, it used to be you could only be with a police officer for 4 hours before you needed a mental health bed. The answer from the legislature, we'll allow cops to keep you for 12 hours. I think cops are great. I do. But we are not going to be what you need if we have to keep you 12 hours.
So you're supposed to, quote unquote, babysit that person for 12 hours?
Yeah, if we can't find a bed, and when I say a bed, a place or a facility for that individual to get assistance, we can hold them up to 12 hours, police officers. I think that is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for the legislature to send that to us in a, to change the law.
That came out of the Cree Deeds situation.
It came right after that. That was one of the changes.
So it was a Band-Aid. It's really not. It's really not figuring out the ills of the.
But that's easy. We have to do something, so we do something. Well, we need serious dialogue. Mental health has to be one of those things that we talk about. Mm-hmm. So it's a piece to the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. One big thing that came up 2 weeks ago when we were talking with our viewers about this, and also someone mentioned it tonight, is bullying. And we haven't had a chance to touch on that yet. I know growing up, people called me Four Eyes. I wore glasses, but I never thought to retaliate. There was nothing in me that thought to do that. It seems like students today seem to express themselves in a different way. Some of them feel the need to retaliate, but then also at the same time, a lot of schools are looking to address the bullying issue within the classroom.
I think part of that is because bullying doesn't end nowadays. It used to be you'd go into school.
Social media aspect again.
Like I'm saying, if you give a teen 4.5 hours, well, I don't know about you, but after about 30 minutes, I kind of get bored. So what are they going to do? I mean, I think we set the table for that bullying to continue and continue and continue, and even to the point where a Jonathan Martin, an NFL guard, who is no longer an NFL guard, I mean, he threatened to go back to his school that he was bullied at. I mean, I think it does something. It rewrites the way you think. I think if that's all you hear, I think you're ingrained is at some point, it's make it stop. And instead of hitting somebody like it used to be, it's, well, what can I get?
Perhaps I'm a little bit old-fashioned, Chief, maybe you can help me with this one, but I still believe that young people will do what you expect them to do. And I just think from a school standpoint, I can't speak from a police or a church standpoint, but we're very clear at our school that we simply do not allow students to mistreat other students. We don't allow parents to mistreat other students. We don't allow teachers to mistreat students. We don't allow students to we don't even use the word bullying. We simply don't allow it. In the elementary school, if a student gets accused of bullying, they bypass the principal and they go to the superintendent because little bullies become big bullies. Mm-hmm. So as school administrators, I am encouraging all our administrators to take this head on and make sure that they clearly look in the eyes of their students and say, we are not going to tolerate this. Community, parents, we are not going to tolerate this. And again, we have seen, because this is an issue in private, public, and that students mistreating others, you simply have to make sure they understand you are not going to tolerate it. And I don't know if we're if our schools are scared to really address this issue now, but it's something that I don't think you can skate around.
You are absolutely correct. Human beings live up to expectations.
Absolutely.
There has been research. In fact, it was a school setting, this piece of research that I'm going to talk about. They tested the IQ of children. They then went to the educators and said, these children got higher IQs than what they really got, and these children got lower IQs than what they really got. The teachers had an expectation for the performance of those children. The study proved that expectation from those teachers, the children that they thought had high IQs and there was that expectation they had it, actually improved when they were retested. We have to set the expectation. I absolutely agree with you. I think you're right on the money. And we won't. But you know why we won't? Because we're scared.
We're scared, and we're scared, Chief, and this is work.
You say we're scared. So adults, parents, who's...
I just think in the world of school administration, the way things have gone, okay, you go down a very slippery slope when you get involved with student mistreatment. It's a he said, she said. You get the parents involved. I can't believe.
Yep.
You know what? We can, as administrators, cannot be scared of those confrontations with parents and students when it comes to mistreatment. Sure. And I think that it's really, really hard work. And I think, and I've been in those environments where, you know, I don't know all the facts here, and it's just too hard work to call in all 8 kids and get all the facts. And that's exactly what superintendents should expect of their principals, that they have got to dig their heels in and do these investigations, because what these things lead to are school shootings. There is a direct reflection. If you look at the Virginia Tech study, it showed that they couldn't quantify the characteristics of a school shooter, except for one thing. You know what that one thing was? That at some point in that student's life, they were bullied and no one did anything about it. That's a unified characteristic.
Interesting.
When you look at school shooting. If you look at the Virginia Tech study that was done in 2010, we have to address this issue.
Yeah,
and it's hard.
It's got to be super hard when you've got those children returning to homes where both the parents are on drugs or meth or you know, unemployment, whatever issues that alcohol, whatever they're facing. You know, how do you even begin to get a toehold on fixing that child's behavior when you're not the parent and the parents are not, they're worthless in that in with respect to that issue?
Somebody's got to be their savior. For lack of a better word, somebody's got to see the value of that kid and go to bat for him. And I mean, there's a guy that I know right now, and his dad left his home when he was 10 months old, raised by a mom who worked 2 jobs. And the reason he's where he is today is because somebody saw something in him.
Somebody did.
Somebody did.
But how many cases are there where the somebody is nobody?
What I'm saying, though, is if these teachers are seeing it, and I'm not throwing any teacher, my hat is off to every teacher. They don't get paid enough. They work way too much.
We all have teachers and their families with our
let's be real. But my point, though, is it's the teachers that go out of their way and see something in those kids and go to bat for them. I mean, that's what it comes down to. That's really where we are in the church, is we've got to learn to see the value in every kid, regardless of their unique circumstances. I mean, there's some that are really easy, and there's some that aren't as easy. But at the end of the day, we've got to go out of our way to find the value. And it's honestly the ones that are the harder that we need to see the value in more, if you will.
They need the most help.
And I use the word scared, and I want to kind of qualify that a little bit. They're scared of failure, is what it is. We have been in situations where we have all failed. And you know, if doing the right thing was easy, we'd have it made. And we are scared of failing if we get involved. We're scared of what the repercussions are from that failure. And we've number one, we got to set expectations. Okay, we're going to mess up.
Sure.
Everybody in every walk of life is going to mess up. The expectation is we learn from that and we work through that. But you can't close the door on it. And I think we close a lot of doors.
Yeah. Well, guys, appreciate everybody's thoughts and comments. I don't think we saved the world here tonight, but hopefully we extended the conversation a little bit, and we appreciate all of y'all's perspective. Y'all come from places where you're able to kind of look down on it and see it, maybe not from 20,000 feet, but at least kind of look down and see where all the pieces are moving. And that's why we value your perspective so much. So
if we helped a little, we've done something tonight.
There you go. Thank you all for being here. We had a great conversation. Obviously, there are no easy answers, and we will keep talking about it in the future. Now, obviously, for those of you who are either watching this on Facebook, talking about it, sharing it, which would be really helpful, so that everything we took the time and our panelists took the time to talk about here tonight gets out there and reaches more people. Hopefully, we can keep this community conversation going. Yeah, once our Facebook Live ends, you still have the opportunity to comment. This is something that we will continue to have these conversations, and we'll also be checking the comments. So please, if you have questions or comments, please continue to post those. So for all of us here at 10 News, thanks for your questions and for taking the time to take part in this. And thanks to all of our panelists, our guests tonight, for being here with us and providing your thoughts. We hope you have a good night.